to have their own notebook. And here, I think that this we're talking in an indirect way about the strategies, because I think learners can assess their vocabulary learning in several simple but effective ways. One strategy might be self-testing, trying to recall meanings, trying to remember the way it is spelled, trying to have example sentences. And you're mentioning this example in with respect to your kid, without checking their notes. So they have to self-testing in order to become independent users of the vocab. So learners can also evaluate whether they can use new words naturally in short speaking tasks. So we can give them a short speaking task, or a very short, or we ask them to write maybe one sentence. And also, one example is that one of the strategies that I might use is using a simple bag with everyday objects, Shirin. So we might use a pen, a key, a bottle. Can you see them? A
Yes,
pen,
yes.
a fruit, a key. And then to show how learners can use vocab independently. For example, I take an object, the key, and I ask learners, uh, uh, and I ask them to guess its meaning from context. And then I would really build word families like key, keychain, keyboard, and group it in categories like things we use every day. This we can do it with the key, or we can do it with another item like a pen. We repeat the same steps and ask learners to make quick sentences. And but the most important step here is that I have to ask them which strategies help them. Hearing the word, grouping that, or using it in context. This helps them understand how they learn vocabulary best and encourages independent learning. It's just like metacognition. They're aware of their own thinking. They understand how they learn vocab best. What do you think?
Thank you for reminding these. So these are really great examples, Janet. The word back and then increasing their awareness about their own learning process, because we shouldn't assume that they have this skill or competency. So we need to give them those strategies. So you mentioned group.
Yes, that's true. We can also
If they
ask
learned
learners.
vocabulary about transport,
Mhm,
then
mhm,
types of
mm,
transport, places, travel actions, problems. And as learners group these vocabulary, then they will be personalizing it. So it's more memorable for them. Again, if they also, for example, if they learned about food vocabulary, and then if they group it, so the other example was the word network. This was maybe for grouping them in different colors, color coding according to fruits, nuts, vegetables. So it's about actually making those connections in their brain, again, for the purpose of
exactly.
improving that retention process. And also we can encourage them to use those two-sided cards, like,
Thoughts.
yes, like flashcards or two-sided. They can practice at home um, on their own. So we can encourage them to play some board games with their family members, and lots of other strategies. But the
Exactly.
idea is to provide them with those opportunities to play with
Yeah.
those words and have fun at the same time.
Excellent. Thank you for sharing. These are really wonderful. And we might have cards like these, for example, long or short with the word that they're studying, with they can, so we can use cards in different ways. Or maybe uh, uh, we can also check their understanding of the word by using the five fingers. One, that somehow I didn't understand, or two, I'm close to that, three, and five, give me five, which means I understand the word. So also we can use all of these just to check their understanding and to make them aware if they know the word or if they are aware of using the word itself. Also, in addition to that, we have the word story. For words that are difficult to learn, we can ask learners to make a story about it in their mind, just connect it, as you said previously, to their uh, background knowledge, to their and to connect it to the long-term memory. So, what about charts also? Language learning takes a lot of hard work and time. So, if learners set realistic short term aims, they will find it easier to manage their progress. One way to do this is the chart that you used, Shirin. You showed us wonderful charts. So, and also the two sided cards that you showed us. Now,
Thank you.
also we have, yes, Shirin.
I would also like to ask community members. One of our community members mentioned that flashcards are the best for teaching vocabulary. So please
Mhm.
add what works in your class. So, what are the strategies? What are the resources, tools that help you to help your learners retain vocabulary? So far, we have shared word network, grouping words. Those two-sided cards, flashcards that can be used, and lots of other ideas, right? So what about your strategies? How do you help your learners retain vocabulary inside
Mhm.
and outside the classroom so that they can
Exactly.
actually enjoy this process also? That's vocabulary teaching is also one of the ways that help us recycle what we learned in the previous lesson and also have some interactive activities game in the classroom, so that we can help them. And we also mentioned metacognition, helping learners aware of their own strategies, methods, so this will help
Yeah.
them be more aware learners about their
Mhm.
learning.
So, Shirin, also we have an important question here. How can we help learners organize their vocabulary learning? So, first, they may use tables to classify words into categories or topics. Mind maps are very useful. You mentioned the notebook with words grouped by topic or word family. Also, we can use digital tools like Quizlet to create organized flashcards. Maybe we can teach learners to record collocations and example sentences in their notebook. Also, use color coding for parts of speech. Help them also review regularly using simple set check strategies. And also, as we used, both of us use real objects just in order to model grouping words meaningfully. What do you think?
I also want to read one of our community members' suggestion about how to
Mm,
read. Because vocabulary notebook, mini dictionary, Pictionary, so these are all mentioned. So students can do, learners can do these together on their own. But
mhm.
there was also one comment, so I would like to read it because it's really very effective, I think. So our community member says that in the first lesson of the course, I spent 10 minutes guiding my students how to record new vocabulary. Then sometimes I borrow their notebooks to check their records and correct errors if necessary. The key is to be consistent. So if I keep checking their notebooks after every 3-4 sessions, they will become more independent. Moreover, I often assess my students' work. I always try to suggest old vocabulary so that my learners can see how those words can be used in various contexts. So, excellent strategies. So, it's about being consistent, it's about training learners on those strategies and also showing them, modeling, and showing maybe some good examples, encouraging them in the classroom to. Write on their vocabulary notebook. As you say, it could be pictures, drawing, but as if they are at secondary level, maybe you can also train them on how to use a dictionary. Then they can write the meaning, the pronunciation, the different examples. So it becomes a habit after a while. Some learners may prefer drawing. Some prefer maybe keeping an audio dictionary. So if they don't really like to keep a notebook, they can keep a digital notebook. You can encourage them to keep using a Word document or on a different digital tool. So there are ways to do this, but the idea is to encourage learners to keep store vocabulary. So there is also another comment. Vocabulary basket is also helpful for young children. Like small objects can be collected in a basket. Teachers show objects to
Mm,
learners and they can name the object. Excellent idea. So this
mhm,
the we need to take these learning
mm,
from the book outside those worksheets to real life. So we need to bring those objects and personalize and help
yeah,
them. This will make it more memorable.
yeah.
So
I agree. I totally agree with you, Shirin, and thank you for our community members and for their wonderful contributions and wonderful posts. And this would lead us to the question, what can we do in the classroom? Here in the classroom, we can model how to use a dictionary, paper, or online to check meaning, pronunciation, and example sentences. Teach learners how to keep a vocabulary notebook and organize it. Show them how to guess meaning from context instead of translating every word. Encourage them to create personal example sentences with pictures if they like, with their own drawings, so the word becomes meaningful to them. Also, we can use classroom routines such as word of the day, one new word from the text, or my three useful words. We train learners to notice vocabulary during reading, listening, underline new words, predict meaning, then check. So, or let learners choose words they want to learn, not only teacher selected words. This is personalizing. So we use pair group activities where learners explain new words to each other. And also we can teach simple revision strategies such as check flashcards, space reviewing over time, something like this. What do you think, Shirin? So
yes,
we
I
can
love
do a lot of things in the classroom.
so many ideas. So there was also one comment. So from the community members, they were saying exploring classroom environments for words displayed on posters, learning charts, and again, touch the board was another game.
Touch the board.
Yes, um, recommended. And there are some also comments here. I use flashcards, tables, charts, and there are songs on YouTube. Yes, these are all, as you say, very helpful. And we should create a sharing culture in our classroom and give learners time to share new words they have learned over the last week. And then maybe get learners teach people at home, their parents at home. And we can play lots of games, as you say. So those flashcards or those new vocabulary, we can put them in a word bank and then play lots of games, such as mystery bank. One child picks a word and describes it, others try to guess. So at the end of the week, maybe throughout the week, they will be putting some new words into the bag, and then at the end of the week they can play a game. Drawing dictation could be one activity, so they can draw a big cat next to the small house, so they will be drawing and practicing. Or they love miming a word, so we can activate all those different senses in the
Mm,
classroom vocabulary. And
mhm,
importantly, they will then remember
mm.
and enjoy learning new words.
That's right. And yeah, and this would lead, thank you, Sharon. That's wonderful. And here we have to create a classroom culture that supports independent vocabulary learning. How? Maybe by helping learners become independent. Really, we have to build a very supportive learning culture. Teachers can encourage self regulated habits by giving learners time each week to share new words they discovered on their own, involving parents, you mentioned that, and training them to support vocabulary learning at home. And this is with the help of the teacher. The teacher should really cooperate with the parents in one way or another. And we encourage learners to teach a new word to someone at home. That would be wonderful. And to share their favorite discoveries. This would build responsibility and ownership, and they will become independent. Oh, I, I'm teaching my mom, I'm teaching my sister, I'm teaching my brother. So when learners feel responsible for their independence, for their independence and for their vocabulary growth, they will be independent in a natural way. What do you think?
There are some really nice ideas from our community members. So the wall full
Mm-hmm.
of words. So students write the words they know and then add new ones. So excellent idea. So then it becomes part of classroom routine. Another idea is using crossword puzzles, playing bingo with vocabulary. So many
Wow,
ideas, so
wonderful.
many activities. Really, we are very lucky
Yeah,
to have all those ideas, activities in our field because it
our
can.
classroom. Yeah,
Um, thank you so much. There were also some apps such recommended, such as you mentioned, Quizlet, some tools, web tools.
Quizlet, yeah.
So there are some apps we can also share with our
Mm-hmm.
learners to practice. So if they learned about a vocabulary, the topic theme, then they can play games around these. So at home,
Mm-hmm.
um, some songs can be shared. So if they learned about habits, then songs related to habits can be shared. So they can practice how those words are used, or stories, storybooks. So inside and outside the classroom, so
Exactly,
many.
that's right. So overall, with respect to me, Shannon, I see vocabulary as a skill that grows with practice, motivation, and the right support. So we have to support them in the classroom. We have to support them outside the classroom by talking to their parents, by telling them maybe to teach a word to someone, to a friend if they like. So this is very important to have to personalize these things, to personalize all the activities in the classroom, and above all, to help them keep something of their own, like as you mentioned and I mentioned, the notebook or their own dictionary. And all the strategies should target moving these words from the short-term memory to the long-term memory so that they can use them in speaking, in writing. What do you think?
Yeah, it builds up. That's the key. So we may start slowly, and then if we are
Mm-hmm,
if we are consistent, and if we know why we are encouraging them to do those strategies, to use those strategies in the long term, it builds. Also, it increases their confidence because they will go back and check. Oh, I didn't know these words. Now I know them. So it will
mm-hmm,
definitely increase their motivation as well, because without practice, unfortunately, we forget. We have a memory, so we need to. And also, as we discussed at the beginning, it's not only knowing the words, meaning. There are so many different aspects, components of knowing vocabulary. So we need to
mm-hmm,
really encourage them to use in context, as our community members suggest, choosing the
mm-hmm,
correct word maze to build a story with the new vocabulary. So these are all excellent ideas. Thank you so
mm-hmm.
much. Janet, for all these creative ideas. So please keep experimenting and keep writing on our community space what works for you, so that we can learn from each other's experiences. And if you try any of these ideas, and also let us know how it goes, how it went, how you would like to adapt it in your classrooms. I will definitely choose one of these areas. For example, I prepared those post-its to post on my son's
Yeah, that's wonderful,
project.
wonderful, wonderful. Yeah,
Yes, so
yeah.
definitely so many different
Uh,
ways to help them.
exactly. And so we can end up that the way each learner groups and organizes words is always personal. And this makes it even more important for learners to reflect on their own strategies and assess which ones work best for them. So, uh,
Thank you so much,
yeah,
Janet. Thank you,
yeah.
everyone, and hope to see you again in our future live events.
Bye.
When using a shared device, check you're logged into your YouTube account. Do this by tapping the profile on the main menu. When sure you're in the right account, select Search from the top menu. Search for the British Council Teaching English channel and select it. Look down the page for British Council Teaching English. Tap on it. This is our channel. To be alerted whenever we share a video, tap Subscribe. Then tap Subscribed. Select All to be notified of all our new videos. To see these notifications, tap on the bell in the top menu.